Celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting, 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. Here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente. It's Tuesday, June 14th, 2016, and here are some of today's trends in the news. On the market fronts, let's begin over there in Asia. Kind of like that, but it was like that. Yep, Nikkei down. Shanghai was down, but looks like that national team came in at the end of the day to save the day, ticked up a little bit, but Hang Seng was lower. And over there in Europe, poof, not a good day. Down on average about 2%. And you remember yesterday, down on average about 1.5%. Oh, and going back over there to China, that was down over 3% yesterday. And again, Nikkei just keeps going lower. Abenomics hasn't worked. The yen keeps getting stronger. Keep going deeper into negative yields on them bonds over there in Japan as well as now in Germany. So none of this is working. And over here in the States, the Dow was down over 130. But bounced back up a bit and closed down over 50. And oil keeps moving lower, bit by bit. It was a lot lower, moved up a little bit. And gold edged up just a tiny bit. So what happened over here? Well, U.S. stocks closed lower Tuesday amid declines in oil prices as investors looked ahead to the conclusion of the Fed meeting. Tomorrow, we're going to get another press conference from the Fed chair. And you know what she's going to say because everybody's waiting for it. It will be another round of...
Oh, come on now. That ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
Horse shit, Fed shit, full of shit, bullshit. That's all we're going to hear. And they keep using this excuse as to where's the market going to go. But the consensus is, of course, they're not going to raise rates because of the lousy outlook for the jobs picture that we just saw. So, what else? The Brexit is coming. Brexit, stage right. Yeah, they're looking to leave. And the latest number, of course, is that they're going to be pulling out. Yep, according to the latest poll, some 44% of likely voters say they will opt to leave the EU compared to 40% who want to stay. And that's a poll from TNS. So, is this Brexit thing real and how much of an effect will it have? The big effect, of course, it's going to continue to be dominoes falling, in the real sense of the word, to dismantle the European Union. That's the fear. On the real economic impact, there isn't any there. If the UK didn't do any trade with anybody, it's not going to make that big of a difference. Of course, they will continue to trade. And it certainly won't make a big difference here in the States, but that's what they're saying. And the European Union exit overshadowed returns to health for crude prices, they say. And the other thing, remember, if they raise interest rates, it'll dismantle the already sinking emerging markets because they have to pay back their debt in dollars, their currencies are crashing or have been, and their debt is based in dollars. So that's where we stand at the moment. The German 10-year bond yield fell into negative territory for the first time to hit a low of minus 0.034%. The Japanese 10-year yield hit a record low of negative 0.168%. They're making this stuff up. This has never happened before in history. And it's not going to be a happy ending as we can see it. And gold went up again because of the fear of the June 23rd vote on whether or not they're going to leave. And again, doesn't look like they're going to raise interest rates. What else do we have here? Well, Venezuelan oil output dropped sharply in May. Fell 120,000 barrels per day to 2.37 million barrels a day in May, far from the 6 million barrels a day that the country's officials have long targeted. Interesting story here. Remember how you keep hearing that the Chinese are purposely devaluing the yuan? Well, not according to a story today with facts behind it from the Financial Times. Beijing defends 470 billion currency intervention. China's central banks have burnt through nearly $500 billion in foreign reserves to support its currency since August, despite criticism that it has betrayed its commitment to let market forces drive the exchange rate. Sources close to the central bank said the intervention, while costly, had been necessary to maintain economic confidence and prevent a disorderly depreciation that could have a ripple effect far beyond the Chinese currency. For the critics, the People's Bank of Japan spending on intervention has only delayed further weakness in the renminbi. Economists broadly agree that downward pressure is likely to resume when the U.S. Federal Reserve next raises interest rates. Fixed asset investment in China grew at its slowest rate in 16 years in the first 5 months of 2016, as private companies held off spending and left the state sector to keep the economy humming. And another story here, Berlin weary of Chinese robotics bid. Remember, we reported on this. This Chinese company is going to buy up KUKA, which makes robots used by the car makers Audi, BMW, and the U.S. aircraft manufacturers. Politicians fear technology seen as central to Germany's, quote, fourth industrial revolution will end up in China. China is seeking Western technology to help its economy make the leap from manufacturing to heavy industry to services and consumption. China already has so much of Western technology. How do you think they got it? You forgot NAFTA, the World Trade Organization, all these companies going over there, showing them how to manufacture their products, and now they're getting into the robotics, the next wave of industrialization. But don't worry, if they don't do it in Germany, the Chinese private equity group buys an Italian robot toolmaker. And robots, as you well know in your Trends Journal, it's the face of the future, the next trend after industrialization. Asia Capital, the Chinese private equity fund, launched last year, has bought European industrial robotics business in the latest example of the country's push to gain access to Western automation technology. They sold us out already. They gave what American inventiveness had and transferred it over to China so the multinationals can make a lot of dough. And now all they're doing is bring it into the next level because, hey, the United States has wars to fight, while the Chinese want to build their technology and move ahead. Investor cash levels are consistent with the recession, according to the Bank of America. Fund managers' cash levels are at the highest in nearly 15 years amid worries over the British exit from the European Union and the possibility that the global monetary policy is failing. In fact, it is a quantitative failure, as now that the Bank of America is calling that as well. It has not worked. And what else do we have here? As Brexit gains, global markets swoon. Again, the concern is what will happen when when and if they get out of the European Union. And if the UK doesn't do it, will they do it in Italy? Will they do it in Spain? Will it happen in France? Hey, how about Portugal? Again, as the global economy declines, more violence. We've been talking about this. It's part of the human waves that we've discussed in our top trends of 2016. Clashes erupt between Ethiopia and Eritrea. The Eritrean embassy in Kenya sent a text message alert yesterday. Quote, the Ethiopians have attacked, fighting on the border, situation unfolding. Papua New Guinea police again opened fire on protesters. And they say about why the protesters are protesting. The unrest comes as the government of PNG, one of the world's most culturally diverse but least explored countries. You ready for this? I know it's going to come as a shock, so everybody sit down and take a deep breath. Reels from a corruption scandal, a foreign exchange crisis linked to the slump in oil prices, a severe drought, and ballooning budget deficit. Multiply that by Brazil, by Venezuela, by Congo, by Ghana, by South America, by Chile, by country after country. They're having protests in Chile that don't even make the news here in the States. So, what else is going on? Well, Obama eases restrictions in Afghanistan for American forces fighting the Taliban. Yep, that's right. Hey, but wait a minute. Let's go back to 2013. What did Obama say?
Hi, everybody. This week I welcomed President Hamid Karzai to the White House to discuss the way ahead in Afghanistan. And today I want to update you on how we will end this war, bring our troops home. We've pushed the Taliban out of their strongholds. In the coming months, I'll announce the next phase of our drawdown. And by the end of next year, America's war in Afghanistan will be over.
Ah, yes. By the end of next year, America's war in Afghanistan will be over. And he says it in such an arrogant way. And those liberals let him get away with the lie. Oh, hey, wait a minute. The Republicans don't have anything to do with this. He didn't need congressional approval. Did it on his own. 2013? I think the next year's 2014, isn't it? Oh, we're in 2016. Oh, well, but let's see what else they said over here. Under the new rules, airstrikes will no longer have to be justified as necessary to offend American troops. United States commanders will now be allowed to use air power against the Taliban when they see fit. Oh, of course, hey, when you guys see fit, do what you need to do. And Pentagon and administration officials also said American forces will also be permitted to accompany regular Afghan troops into combat against the Taliban. Oh, wait a minute. What did Obama say in 2014? Let's listen.
2014, therefore, is a pivotal year. Together with our allies and the Afghan government, we have agreed that this is the year we will conclude our combat mission in Afghanistan.
Ah, yes, 2014 is a pivotal year. We will conclude our combat missions in Afghanistan. And you know what that is.
Warning, warning, bullshit alert.
Bullshit alert and dropping bombs. Hey, it's the American way. I wonder why they hate us. Can't figure it out. I say we need to put together a blue ribbon commission to see why these people in these countries that we've occupied now, that one for 15 years, the war in Iraq begun in 2003 based on lies, and the Taliban people, the Afghans, didn't do anything to us. That was Osama bin Laden over there. but they destroyed an entire country. And again, forgot about Libya. Ooh, what about Syria? Again, I think we should put together a blue ribbon commission to find out why the United States is not liked by the people it kills. Oh, and by the way, a little side note, U.S. plans billions in Afghan funding until 2020. Hey, keep drinking that water in Flint. Oh, and you liberals, keep drinking the Kool-Aid. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's trends in the news.